am Jem.
And I'm Victoria.
And this is...
The Criminal Crack?
The Criminal what now?
The Criminal Crack.
Oh my god!
The Criminal Crack.
The Criminal Crack.
And there she goes.
Beautiful.
There she blows.
Why do you keep talking about blowing? Today she's spoken about... What was the first thing you said? We've had head... blowing and...
Offered you some deep throat when I was
You offered me some deep throat when
I
she
was
going
meant
to
to say
deep
deep heat because Gemma's got a sore leg.
Because, as you can tell from this podcast, I'm falling apart. But I can't have deep heat because I'm allergic.
Oh, yes. You've told me that before.
Yeah,
what a strange thing to be allergic to. You've just told everyone you're kryptonite.
There's many more than that. Managing to walk without falling over, that seems to be... There's some kryptonite there as well, so, you know...
You're just a catastrophe.
I'm a horse. No, I'm nay. Oh, I'm a horse because take me out the back and shoot me like a horse. Oh, that's not a thing. This is going well.
This is going really well.
How are you?
A bit rubbish, actually, but health-wise, I'm just feeling a bit flat. Yeah, I need a new head.
Yeah, you do, because you've been having bad headaches.
I have.
But she won't go to the doctor.
But I'll be alright. I've been to the doctors. It's all in hand.
I would just like to put this out in the podcast, and I'm going to get Victoria just to confirm it. So she has bags and bags and bags of amazing things, and
I'm living with my stuff in storage at the moment because I don't have my own place. So all of my worldly possessions pretty much are in storage.
And one of our favourite things to do is to get a bag out here and there. I wonder if we'd have time to do one today.
Maybe.
We could do it on a reel or something.
Oh, maybe.
People won't be
Look
interested.
at all my excellent rubbish that I'm hoarding.
But it is excellent. This girl has got an eye for just amazing stuff, and she can find things that nobody else finds, but they're going to be mine, aren't they? If you die and those bags are still full, well, even if you die before me, I get your treasures.
You get my treasure. Yeah,
and you can
nobody
have
else
mine.
Probably wants it, but
my pony collection is yours.
Thank you. Yes, I can confirm that you get all the treasure in my bags. Hopefully I won't die anytime soon, because this discussion came about because I felt a bit iffy yesterday, and Gemma said if I die overnight, she would be inconsolable for 10 minutes.
No, that's not what happened. What happened was you said you had a bad headache. You thought it might be your blood pressure. So I made you do a blood pressure reading. And then I said it is high, but also you sounded like you were slurring a little bit. And I was worried. I was genuinely worried about you.
No, you asked me if I was drunk.
No, I said, are you drunk or having a stroke? Because you're slurring. And I was worried. So I told you to go where? To A&E.
Yeah.
Young lady. So I was compassionate in a way. And then I suddenly thought, well, if she doesn't go and she dies, I'm not going to be sad because she's made no effort to go to the doctor. If you make steps, then I might. But I want everything in the bags. And I also have things red dotted in her mum and dad's house.
She does. There's furniture with red dots on.
That's mine.
It belongs to Gemma.
I'll have to buy more cool stuff.
What have you been up to anyway? Have you
right,
sort of back to work and back to
I'm back
shenanigans?
to work, yeah, shenaniganizing all over town. I was trying to think what I've done, and I've not done much fun stuff, except I'm back doing my writing course.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yep. And I've got another one that I'm doing that's specifically for crime writing.
Nice.
And I wanted to speak to you because I've been... You know how I keep having these dreams about there's a charity shop in Forres, and in my dream, it always has really cool My Little Ponies.
Yeah.
Remember I told you? I quite often think, is that a real shop, is it not? Well, I had a dream last week, and I realised there's another shop in Forres, and I've been to it many times in my dreams. And it's this brilliant shop, and I have invented that. There's not even a shop in that location. So when you're coming from like the Tesco end of Forres and you go up the hill as if you're going towards the Mosset, I've invented a little alley there, and it's got this amazing shop. And I woke up after this dream and I was like, oh, I need to go there today. Like, I haven't been for so long. And then I realised I've made it up in my head, and then I was sad.
I was going to say, that's so deflating.
It was. We need to open a charity shop.
I was just going to say we should open a shop. We could take all the stuff from my bags.
No, that's mine.
Okay.
Imagine how much more you'll have when we're in our 90s.
Wow, yes, if I live that long. I drove down to Glasgow the other day. So
You
me
did?
being all tired and headachy and a bit naff, I drove down to Glasgow to a gig. My friend Harley from Ipswich, bless him, he put us on the guest list for it's called the New Purple Celebration, which is like the Prince Purple Rain
cool.
tour with Jimmy Love, who's absolutely
I
fantastic.
never got an invite.
No, you didn't. Sorry.
I could have come.
Could you?
If you went there and back in a day, I would have come.
It was probably a mistake to go there and back in a day.
Yeah, but
'cause
I could have
was
driven home.
really, really tired. But it was fantastic.
How did Harley from Ipswich, how does he do this?
How
did he get you on the guest list? What is
Oh,
he?
he works with them. So he's a bass player in a few bands, but he was teching for them. So he
Awesome.
was
Hi, Harley.
basically organising the shit out of everything.
Cool.
So, and it was really good to see him.
Oh, that
I
sounds
haven't
ace.
seen him since we lived down in Suffolk, so that was really good.
I did Edinburgh back in a day once by myself to go and see a friend, and it's tough. By the time you get to like Aberdeen, you know you're on the home straight, but I always think, I wish my house was there. You know, if you go on a long walk and you've had enough and you're like, why don't I live in that house right there?
Just move in, go squat.
We have a couple of things we want to cover before we go into the episode, don't we?
A couple of serious things, really.
Yeah,
that
well,
are in
one's
our
not so
thoughts.
serious, but we wanted to make sure that our listeners, because we do have international listeners as well, and we have some wonderful listeners in America, and we just want to say that we're seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And we are appalled and wish that we could do something to help. Obviously, we're talking about these ICE raids. It's disgusting, it's appalling, it's murder. So we wanted to say that we're thinking of everybody, but particularly the family and friends of Renee Good and Alex Pretty. Or Pretty. Sorry, I'm really sorry, I don't know how to say the surname. It's awful. And I can't imagine what it is like living there right now.
No, I think communities are just living in fear, aren't they? And it's painful to watch.
It is horrible to watch. And I feel bad for getting upset and crying about it because it doesn't directly affect us. We don't know these people. But we are with you. We are thinking about you.
It affects the whole world, really, doesn't it? So it's...
And I genuinely can't believe it. It's like if you went back 10 years and you watched a movie and this was happening and the president of the United States was the type that you have right now, you wouldn't believe it. You'd be like, that would never happen.
There's a bit in a Roald Dahl book. I can't remember which book it was, but there's a bit in an old Roald Dahl book, and they basically take the piss out of this American president in that book, and I'm like, this is relevant now.
It's horrible.
It's sad. And I don't know what the future holds, and I think that's probably what a lot of people are thinking. It's so unsettling. Did you ever watch The Handmaid's Tale?
No.
So
I've heard it's incredible.
This is
that.
It's that.
Well, don't tell me too much because I think I will watch it. I cancelled most of Sky, so I'm sort of relying on...
She cancelled you, Sky.
Yeah, because I was paying so much. I'm still paying a fortune because we've got mobiles and everything like that with them.
Yeah.
Do people call them mobiles anymore?
Cell phones.
Cell phones. So yeah, our thoughts are with everybody over there. And the other thing that I wanted to cover was welcome to our new listeners. I know we've got a few new listeners.
Hello.
So I want to shout out one in particular, Sandra from the Strathisla Bakery. I love
is
Sandra.
that the place with the amazing donuts?
And that Victoria sponge.
But it's the donuts that do it for me.
Well, Sandra, on a Tuesday when I finish work, I go in and do you remember when we first started the podcast, I was obsessed with thin pancakes with jam and butter?
Crepes.
No, they're not crepes. They're called a thin pancake. There's a big fat pancake and there's a thinner one, but it's definitely a pancake.
Okay.
And I go in there and I see Sandra and she makes me my pancake and my hot chocolate, which when I first started I made her put 2 sugars in every one, but I'm down to 1 sugar. So I just wanted to say hi, and I know we've got a lot of other new people as well. Please speak to us. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Sandra has just listened to episode 1 and really enjoyed it. Enjoyed's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. So
Yeah, and we love getting private messages.
Yeah.
That's great. But also talk to us on our socials. You
Yeah, come and talk to us.
If you're comfortable with that, talk to us on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, and we'll respond. Maybe not instantly
if
because
we
we're
don't
both
respond,
at work, but
it might be because somebody makes folders on all our communication things and the other somebody, me, has no frigging clue what's going on. I was looking for that message for ages.
I'm sorry.
A lady got in touch with us. We've shared her page. I'm just going to give her a little shout out, actually. I can't remember the name of her.
She stumbled upon us when I shared our episode about Christina Menzies. It happened in Germany, and so I was living in RAF Larbrook, And this person lived in the same place when I shared on the Facebook page, and she found the story. So
she did. And
sorry, mumbly.
No, and I think she had liked one of our posts at some point, and I went and had a look at her page. She's called Something Brewing Stationery. So it's somethings _brewing, no G, _stationery. And we love stationery, don't we?
We do love stationery.
We're a fan of the stationery. And yeah, so I've been chatting away to her now that I found the chat. So go and give her page a little look and say hi from us. But the other thing we wanted to say is, oh gosh, we've blathered a long time. Please, 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 if you are enjoying what you hear, leave us a review wherever you're listening to your podcast. So if you listen on Spotify, you can't leave a review, but you can leave stars. And if you could give us 5 stars, we'd be much appreciative, because it really helps our algorithm.
And bear in mind that Gemma is neurodivergent, so stars mean, a lot to somebody like that.
Somebody
Gold
like
stars,
that. Let's just remember that Victoria is she loves everybody.
Twattish.
That too, but she loves everybody, but she never thinks before she opens her mouth. So sometimes she might say something that might sound a little bit offensive, but it is not intended. It's never intended that way.
You don't know how much I have to struggle to try and be PC, because I'm not. And it's not
horrible things you say. You're just a bit ridiculous. And she'll look over it, she'll say something, and she'll look at me and I'm like, well, we're cutting that out.
I have to read her face and then go, oh, I've done it again. Oh, and then I have to go and iron my hands.
And also, there's a lot of words that Victoria thinks are going to come out of her mouth, and something completely different will come out, and she'll just look at me and I'm like, oh. But anyway, it's Victoria's turn today. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I am.
So, wait, I've not asked you the crack yet.
Okay.
It's only episode 21, So, Victoria, what is the crack?
Well, Gemma, I'm just going to say very briefly, I think this episode is familiar to a lot of people who enjoy podcasts, but I didn't realise that, because I don't actually go listen all that much. I don't have that much time to go listen to other people's, and I don't know if I should say that, but...
No, it's fine. A lot of people don't, because they feel like it biases them.
Right, yeah, that too. So I didn't know it was as big as it is until I delved.
But we pick cases because there's something about them that has caught our attention. So I think even if you were doing Ted Bundy, I'll sit here and I'll listen and I'll enjoy what you have to tell me.
I probably will do that at some point, because that fascinates me.
Well, you will need
a really
episodes
morbid way. I know,
rather than
loads.
one episode.
Yeah.
So you might do a bonus then. Although you've got an idea for your bonus, haven't you?
I do, and that's a little bit close to home. But that's why I want to do it, and I will do it. I will
and
get
it's
it
timely
done.
because
it's
things
timely,
have happened.
Yeah.
So
I'll start this episode. While serving in the US military as a mechanic and based in Las Vegas, Nevada, Herb Vincent met a blackjack dealer named Lucy while she was working in one of the town's casinos. The pair hit it off and quickly married. They remained in Vegas, where they raised 7 children.
Oof.
And one of those children, whom they named Mary, was born on July 28th, 1963, and today it's her story that I'm going to be sharing with you. There's little information about her very early years, but as a young teen, Mary immersed herself in all the glamour and glitter of Vegas. The rawness, realness and pizzazz of this colourful playground was enthralling to the youngster, who blossomed creatively. She shone on stage as she danced, and even found she had a flair behind the scenes where she would do the hair and makeup for her fellow performers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
girl
I love
power
that too. Now, despite seeming happy in her hobbies, trouble stirred at home, and Mary began to long for escape. Mary's parents, like so many couples, hit a turbulent patch from which they decided they wouldn't recover, and they separated.
Oh, with 7 kids as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the whole weight of finances, 7 kids.
Look,
the
it's
struggles.
hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
It is hard.
So Mary was strong-minded and kind of fed up with the situation at home, and had a hunger for independence and a desire to unleash her creativity with a wider audience and with other like-minded artists. So she bailed. Mary got out of Dodge.
Oh, we haven't had got out of Dodge for a while. How old was she, sorry, at this point?
15.
15.
Yeah, 15 years old, she decided to hitch a few rides to Northern California. Initially, she found herself in the Bay Area, where she lived on the streets for a while. The youngster would try door handles of unoccupied cars and bunk down for the night if any had been left unlocked. But this uncertain existence soon grew tiresome. Although she missed her family, she knew she didn't want to go and return to her parents just yet. So instead she decided to head for LA to go stay with her grandfather.
Who was she meant to live with out of the two parents, or do we not know?
I don't know.
She just decided, I've had enough, I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were in the process of separating or, because sometimes they still cohabit, don't they?
Yeah, sorry, was she the eldest?
I couldn't find that out, actually. I had a look to see where she fell in the line of things, but couldn't find it.
Okay.
So she stayed with her grandfather for a while until homesickness really struck her, and then she decided it was time to hitch a ride back southwest toward Nevada. On the 28th of September 1978, Mary strolled along a roadside with a crowd of other youngsters hoping to hitch a ride. And I just want to add a little sidebar here, because to any of our younger listeners, hitchhiking was it was a typical and popular way to get around in the 70s.
Method, yeah.
And that was in the States and in the UK, and especially for teens and younger people with limited means.
Nowadays, we're all horrified by the idea because of the amount of stories that we've heard.
Yeah, exactly. We now associate all those dangers with hitchhiking and actually with interacting with strangers in general, but back then it wasn't unusual. It really was the norm.
As well, sorry,
That's
I
all
keep
right.
interrupting, but back then as well, women particularly, or girls particularly, were told you have to be respectful and you knew your place, so you had to be polite, so don't talk to strangers. But if they happen to talk to you, you must be polite.
Yeah, and you must smile.
Yeah, and if they ask you for help, like I always tell my kids, an adult you don't know should never need your help, so run.
Yeah. Mary was stood with a handwritten sign which said she was heading south. She was thumbing for a lift alongside two guys who also had signs that said they were heading the same way. And a middle-aged man a middle to late older man, let's say, in a dark blue utility van pulled up. The youngsters noticed that the van was empty with no seats in the rear, and so they were surprised when the man said that he only had room for the young female. It's massive red flag. The guys Mary stood with, they were concerned enough that they pulled her to one side and they said, I wouldn't get in there if I were you. I'm really glad that they did that, but
even if they hadn't, I think it's brilliant that they've done that.
Yeah.
Especially given the time.
And they were stood together,
But
they didn't know each other.
So the fact that they did that at all, but they couldn't make her not get in.
No. So she did hesitate momentarily, but she said to them that the man seemed nice enough. He was like a grandfather type. She was exhausted. She was desperate to reach home, and she didn't really give the situation too much thought, and against her better judgment, she accepted the lift. For the first hour of the drive, everything felt normal. The driver made small talk, followed a familiar route out of the Bay Area towards Interstate 5 and Southern California, and she was reassured that all was okay, so she dozed off for a bit. When she woke, Mary felt unsettled. She noticed that the signposts were wrong. The man was driving in the wrong direction, basically. The road was no longer familiar. They passed a fast food joint, but instead of merging onto the main highway, the road ahead opened into the desert, barren and isolated. That unsettling feeling in Mary's gut quickly evolved into fear and dread, and everything was telling her that things were not okay. She asked the driver to turn around. She told him he knew he was going the wrong way and then demanded he turn around.
Good girl.
He refused, claiming it was an honest mistake and that they were lost.
He was a lorry driver, wasn't he?
No,
he was just a car driver. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused.
It's all right. When the man eventually pulled over to apparently relieve himself, Mary saw her chance. It was live or die time. Mary noticed her tennis shoe was untied, so she slipped out of the passenger door to bend down and tie it. She knew there was nowhere to hide because desert, barren. But Mary figured as a young healthy dancer she could easily outrun an older, heavier built man, and she was going to bolt. She had to try. Mary pulled her laces tight, took a deep breath, and then darkness. The man had used a sledgehammer to bring his full force down on Mary's skull.
He obviously foresaw, the relieving was obviously he had planned to do it there anyway.
Yeah.
Bold as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so I have got trigger warning here, but it's graphic, it's gruesome.
But it is an integral part of the story. It has to be told to understand. I know this case, and to understand the rest of this case. If you haven't heard it, you need to know this part.
Yeah. So what ensued after this was unthinkable. It was a brutalist and depraved attack upon this poor child. Mary woke in the back of the van. She was stripped naked. Her hands were tightly bound. Her attacker repeatedly violated her. The prolonged violent and sexual assault went on through the night. Mary Vincent begged to be set free. She pleaded that she wouldn't tell. She asked the question, "Why are you doing this?" She got no response from her attacker, who went to sleep after sexually assaulting the girl 6 times or more.
Yeah, he knew he had her, and there was nowhere she was able to go.
She said she was bound so tightly that she couldn't do anything about it. Feeling that she couldn't cope anymore, she begged again to be set free, but this time she said she was begging to God. She said in that moment she wanted to die. Mary had been held captive in the van all night. She was still awake when the sun started to rise the following morning. Again, she begged her attacker to set her free, and this time he responded. He responded by saying, "You want to be set free? I'll set you free." Already bleeding and broken, he pulled Mary out of the van. He produced a hatchet from his toolbox, and as he swung toward her left arm, the girl started to fall. She grabbed out to him, and she knows she grabbed firmly onto his arm, so she couldn't understand why she was still falling. And when she looked down, her arm was gone. He had severed the girl's arm approximately 6 inches below the elbow with a hatchet. Mary started kicking, fighting, screaming, hoping that anyone would hear her cries. But then her attacker forcefully took hold of Mary's right arm. This time it took more attempts because she was struggling so much and fighting so damn hard. But he repeatedly was chopping, and he severed her right arm.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah, he was just hacking away at her flesh until it was... So once he dismembered both of her arms, he started to walk away, but she said she could see this blurry... I mean, you can imagine how dazed and shocked, and your body must have gone into shock. Yeah. But she said she could see this blurry outline, and he was kind of flicking his arm, and she wasn't sure what he was doing at first, but then she realised that where she'd actually reached out to grab, and she was sure she grabbed on that first swing of the hatchet, her hand had actually latched tightly around his arm, and he was flicking to try and dislodge the grip of her now severed hand from his own limb. It was still attached to him. Her hand.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, just the imagery it got put in my head was horrific. This evil creature dragged what he'd left of the 15-year-old out of the back of his van.
15.
She'd stopped fighting now. He took the girl and he threw her down a 30-foot cliff before he drove away. Unconscious, naked, mutilated and bleeding out. He left her there to die, or perhaps he thought she was already dead because she'd stopped trying.
He didn't care one way or the other. He was leaving her in the desert. Yeah. What's she going to do?
Yeah. How could anyone survive?
Yeah.
You know? Mary lay at the bottom of the ravine, suffering from massive blood loss. Her body shattered from the fall. 3 ribs were broken when she was thrown into the dirty culvert. She was 15. She was cold, she was tired and completely alone in the desert. Every instinct told her to give in, to close her eyes and to sleep. But something stopped her. She later said it felt like a voice, but it wasn't audible, but even so it was undeniable. A higher power telling her she could not rest. That if she slept, he would walk away and he would do this to another girl.
Yeah.
Every remaining ounce of strength inside her soul screamed the same message. Get up. Do not go to sleep. She said time seemed as if it slowed. The world narrowed, stretched and almost unreal, like that scene in The Matrix where Neo dodges the bullets and everything moves in slow-mo.
Iconic scene.
Mary said she felt everything. Excruciating pain, burning, stinging. She could feel the hot blood pouring out of herself. But she fought it all. Now, I imagined that if something like this had happened, I assumed your body would and your mind would protect yourself from that pain, but she said she felt everything. And that really,
I think your brain can shut off things like that. But she was trying to move herself. That's why it probably hurt so much. I think if she just lay there...
Yeah, it probably would have defended it. But I think because she was trying to get up and fight, I think... She had to be awake and alert enough that it was... Yeah, she is. She actually packed her severed limbs with grit and dirt, desperately trying to slow the bleeding.
Which is nuts, because you would think...
That would hurt too.
It would hurt too, and you're supposed to clean a wound, you know?
Yeah. It might have saved her, though.
Well, it probably did.
Because she did manage to stem the bleeding a little bit by doing that. Somehow, against all odds, the battered and butchered teenager dragged herself up the 30-foot ravine, inch by inch towards the road. By the time she reached the top, night had fallen. The Modesto desert was bitterly cold, and I would imagine even more so. She would have felt it more because of the blood loss. She couldn't see anything beyond the moon and the stars, but she honed her senses. She stood in the darkness by the dirt road at the top of the ravine and listened. Almost unexpectedly, the echoes of silence were penetrated by a faint sound. In the distance, she heard it, the hum of passing vehicles. So she assumed there must be a freeway, civilization, possibly help, and suddenly she had hope.
That's incredible. Do you know to do that, or is that something that your body
Is it
just
your body and your
survival
mind?
instinct?
Yeah, it's survival. So Mary turned towards the sound and began to walk. And you've got to imagine, this isn't just... She was bleeding. She was in
She had no
pain.
arms,
She
did she?
was naked.
And also, I was thinking when you said about the 30-foot ravine, how many people would just happen to fall down something like that and not be able to pull themselves? I don't think I could pull myself up that.
It's incredible what she did. Mm-hmm. By the time the first car approached Mary, it was morning again, but it basically taken her all night. So she was fatigued, delirious. She was dying. She'd already walked more than 3 miles. So up that 30-foot ravine and then 3 miles along a road towards the noise of the traffic. She remembers that there was a small, red, sporty and topless car. It's not topless, is it? What's it called?
It's convertible.
That's the one.
Topless. You have got shenanigans on the brain, lady.
There were 2 guys inside. Mary said, well, I would assume she yelled, "Help me, help me." She was naked, she was armless, she was covered from head to toe in blood and dirt, and resembling something which, in her own words, she said looked like something out of a Fright Night movie. Mm-hmm. The men didn't stop. They drove on.
Did they definitely see her?
She was in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So again, Mary was left thinking, I'm going to die out here because people are even too afraid to stop. So Mary was staggering still up the middle of this road, holding up her limbs so that the muscles and blood wouldn't fall out, when the second vehicle came by. It was an old truck driven by a couple on their honeymoon who'd gotten lost.
Oh, Jesus.
Thankfully, they did stop. They helped Mary into the truck, which was an older truck, but she said they drove like shit off a shovel to a phone, because it was in the days before mobile phones.
Pre-mobiles, even ATS and SOS and stuff at the side of the road.
So they called paramedics when they got to the phone, and Mary was airlifted to hospital. Medics reported that the 15-year-old had lost over half of the blood in her body, and the remaining blood was at a toxic level. Because you get toxic shock.
Because of septicemia. And also, how long was she out there?
So sometime during the day, so there was the night when he did what he did. Sometime during the day, she lay in that ravine. She heard the voice.
Say 24 hours.
Yeah, so
by the time she gets to hospital. Mm-hmm. So chances are packing her arms with the grit and everything did save her did help, because
just by stemming that blood loss, I think.
Well, you see if people, like, you must go through an artery if you take somebody's arms off. And you can bleed out in seconds.
You can bleed if you lose a finger.
I know, it's
absolutely astonishing that she survived, but somehow she did survive. So it was adrenaline and that voice in the ether that had carried her. Mm-hmm. And obviously this honeymooning couple.
Yeah.
And she'd gone from begging for an end to being desperate to live, desperate to prevent this evil beast from doing something like this ever again, and desperate for answers and for justice.
Imagine thinking about other people when you're going through that.
I know.
How many people... I mean, you wouldn't know how you're going to react unless you're in that situation. And like she said, it is like a Fright Night movie. Like, before I heard about this case, I hadn't even been comprehended that somebody could go through that and survive.
No, it's unreal. There's another case where there was an attack, and there's actually a documentary on Netflix, I think it is, called Alison.
Is this the lassie that was on the beach?
No, I don't think so.
Because there's a case with somebody on a beach
this
very
was
similar.
In Australia, but her wounds were so extensive. You just think, how? I'll share the link for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Possibly a story I could have covered as well, but anyway.
Oh, you're talking about the Alison Botha case. You know there's been an update to that, don't you?
Has there?
I'll give you it at the end then.
All right. So Mary was actually so determined for all this and so desperate for justice that when she lay in the hospital bed, she vehemently forfeit sleep so that she could help an artist to create a composite sketch of her attacker.
That is insane.
I know, which ultimately did help to identify him, and it took the police just 10 days to do so and to charge Mary's attacker.
Do you think, or has she ever said, was she scared to sleep, do you think?
I don't think she said that, but...
Because you might be, because might you think you would never wake up?
It's possible, isn't
like,
it?
thinking of other people to that level.
But sometimes don't they put you in a forced coma
Yeah.
to help you recover and stuff? But no, she was adamant that she was going to help the police, and yeah, 10 days and they'd identified and charged him. And I'm going to say his name once because he's accountable, but out of respect for the victim who chooses to only identify him as her attacker, I won't repeat it again after this.
Okay.
Because she has said that even hearing his name triggers her. So her attacker was 51-year-old Lawrence Singleton, an overweight, unemployed ex-merchant seaman.
And scumbag, 100% scumbag.
Yeah. So Mary went on to face her attacker in court when she bravely testified against him.
Oh, she is.
I know.
That's when people cannot do that in court. I get it. There's no. You've been through trauma enough. You don't. Some people want to face their attackers,
Yeah.
but other people that is just a whole new level of trauma. She's incredible,
Yeah.
and she was still being 15 when she did that.
I couldn't even read a victim impact statement out loud. I wrote it, but I couldn't read it out loud in court. It's like to be able to stand there and testify against somebody who's saying he didn't do anything. So stood just shy of 15 feet from his young victim, he was convicted of rape, attempted murder and other sex offences. And he was sentenced to 14 years behind bars to serve concurrently for all those offences. So that means all at the same time, not consecutively. Because at the time, this was the maximum term under California law. And I find that unreal. That is unbelievably...
It's disgusting. It's not even her age. And we were talking the other week. I had been to a court case and I've spoken to my friends. I'm not going to go into the full story, but I'd gone to a court case. So my friend's husband was tragically killed on his motorbike and it was due to negligence.
Of the other party.
Of the other party. Sorry, yeah. And the amount of forensics and things that were done proved that her husband Dave was driving within the speed limit. He was visible. She got community service. And I just think it's disgusting that if you take a life, whether it's by accident or not, you should be doing some time.
Yeah.
It's a kick in the teeth.
It's just like there's something in the pit of your stomach. It's so disgusting that people get away with things. And I know car accidents sometimes are a different kettle of fish because they're accidents, but still...
It's a weapon though. You need to remember you're driving a killing machine at all times.
And she was negligent.
She was
and
negligent.
that's
She
the
was
point.
proved negligent.
That's the point.
Yeah, sorry.
So this beast showed absolutely no remorse in court, so Mary had to actually pass her attacker on the way out of the court. She was just inches away, and get this, she heard him say, "If it's the last thing I do, I will finish the job."
So if she heard that, other people heard that, so
Yeah.
why wasn't he then taken straight back in?
He's absolutely evil. This threat loomed over Mary for years, and especially after her attacker was paroled in 1987. So quick maths, Jem?
8 years.
8 years.
That wasn't quick maths, I looked it up before.
You're a cheeky bugger.
I know, but I knew the case and I...
Yeah.
Oh.
So he served 8 years of a 14-year sentence. Mary's case did become a catalyst for change within the legal system, and first-degree attempted murder is now punishable with a life term, but with the possibility of parole.
This is what pisses me off. That's an attempted murder. It's only attempted murder because she
Survived.
Because she had the audacity to... So he gets next to no time.
Yeah.
If by the grace of God
left
you
her
survive...
there to die.
His intent... It should be murder one because his
It should.
intent was to murder her.
Yeah, yeah. So 10 years after his early release, he murdered a 31-year-old, a mother of 3 named Roxanne Hayes.
No,
in
he didn't.
Tampa, Florida. He did. He stabbed her 3 times with a boning knife.
I didn't know that.
This time he was sentenced to death, and I think because the rules are different in Florida and because she died. But he was never executed because this monster died of cancer whilst on death row. So... It's beggars belief. The relapse that Mary had as well when she knew that he was out on parole, and then again when he did this to somebody else when she'd fought, she'd survived so that she could prevent that from happening, so
And
that
he
she
did
could
it
nail
anyway.
him, and he he went on to do it anyway.
She was massively let down.
Yeah. After her ordeal, Mary went on to marry and raise 2 sons. She admits that when she heard the news of her attacker's passing, part of her felt robbed of ever truly understanding the darkness that lived inside him. Still, the relief she saw on her sons' faces once the world was rid of him brought her peace. That relief was enough. It gave her the closure she needed, and she no longer had to live in fear for hers and her sons' lives.
Yeah.
And she did say, "I am a survivor. I survived." Now, as our listeners know, we try to advocate for the victims and survivors of our cases, and we often share stories that are unsolved in the hope that people with information will find the courage to relinquish themselves of what they know and potentially give families and loved ones that remain closure, peace and freedom from the circumstances that confine them. And whilst Mary has kept her personal life close to her heart, and rightly so, the story of her trauma is well known, and she has become an important public figure who's gone on to advocate for survivors and raise awareness surrounding victims' rights. Mary has shared her deeply personal stories and expressed her own visions of empowerment, courage and survival through various mediums of art, because she taught herself to use her prosthetics to paint.
I knew, yeah.
And her work is highly regarded in the art community.
She sounds like a wonderful woman.
She does. And this is, as per my norm, I wanted to look at this from a different angle. And so I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. So nearly every story and every headline paints Mary as a miraculous pillar of strength and a brave survivor. And she is. She absolutely is.
Yeah.
But what those stories rarely seem to show is how she became to be the woman she is today. Mary didn't crawl out of the ravine and instantly become a symbol of resilience simply because she was still breathing. Survival wasn't just a moment, it was a long, slow and ongoing process. Yeah. After her ordeal, Mary's world became a turbulent roller coaster marked by struggles, setbacks and hard-fought resilience. She persevered through enormous emotional, physical, psychological pain, much of which would have ended most of us.
Yeah, if we'd even managed to get out of the ravine.
Even if we'd crawled out of the dirt. And she is incredible. She really is.
She hasn't been attacked, had all that happen, and now she's just happy because she's not lived a happy life.
No. And that's a lot of these stories and articles that I read were painting that she'd gone from A to B, and it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't, and that's been the problem over the years, which is why organisations such as Restitute need to be there. Because, and it's not only, we always talk about the victims on top of the victims, and you just mentioned it there, her sons weren't there when it happened, weren't even a twinkle in her eye at that point.
And they possibly wouldn't have had the mother that they should have had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because she's bound to have gone through periods of depression.
Mm-hmm. So I'll talk about that in a minute.
Sorry.
So it's all right. So she was once set to be the lead dancer at the Lido de Paris in Vegas. She lost everything that represented the person that she was on that night in 1978. So when surgeons worked to save what remained of her right arm, they actually had to take some parts from her leg, and in that her dancing career was over.
Gone.
So her attacker stole her innocence, her way of life was altered, and the world as she had known it was completely skewed.
Yeah, the person she was when she went and got into that car is not the person that she came out of that ravine.
No. So as I mentioned, she did go on to marry, and she had relationships, but none of them lasted. Mary struggled with depression and eating disorders. At one point her weight plummeted to a shocking 98 pounds, which is barely 7 stone. She disappeared from public life, shutting herself away indoors, cutting herself off from the world. She couldn't bring herself to look people in the eye, and she was often too afraid to even lift her head. She would jump at a stranger, she would...
How do you trust anyone?
Yeah. She became a ghost of the person that she was, and she deliberately hid from the media, and one of the reasons it was the media and their intrusion into her life that contributed to her first marriage ending, because her husband couldn't
cope with it.
Couldn't cope with that.
And also, sorry, you've not touched on it yet, but there was probably a certain amount of shaming placed on her.
Yeah.
Well, you got in the car.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And she did used to go around, I haven't included this, but she did used to go around schools and do talks and things until she felt that there was a very real attack against her when a boy shouted out from a school and said, "You deserve to have your arms cut off."
Why would anybody say that?
I'm guessing it was a stupid child or teenager, but
you would imagine that
she doesn't do school talks anymore.
She's not talking to primary school kids.
No, exactly.
So she's talking to older kids. So I'm sorry, they should know better.
Yeah. People, absolutely evil, and I don't blame her for then not wanting to do that anymore, because why would you put yourself out there to do that?
You know what? Why she doesn't have to. If you go through something like that, you don't have to then go on and be an advocate. If you never talk about it again out with psychiatrists, doctors, things like that, healing yourself, that's
something else
fine.
that she's said was like every time she had to talk about it, it was drawing her back in when she just
wanted
to. You want to look forward to the future, and you can't do that if you're constantly drawing back in.
And the court case as well.
Yeah,
the defence would have been all against her.
Yeah,
she was 15, man.
15, yeah.
At any age, it's like we hear about victims of sexual assault in particular being re-traumatised. Well, you went out that night and you'd had a lot to drink that night, and you didn't say no that night.
Yeah.
And
so in the UK, in the last couple of weeks, there has been a change in the law as well, because victims of sexual assault and rape, the defence were able to
cross-examine.
No, they were able to demand therapy notes and have them readily available, and that has been changed in the last 2 weeks.
That's taken till 2026 to be changed.
Yep. So, but it does mean that they can't be used against the victims who stand up.
A therapist is a doctor. You're not allowed those notes. I've told you before that I reported something, and my statement was given to the person that I was reporting, and he got to read it and say, "Oh no, none of that's true," before saying, that this hasn't happened. He got to read my statement before he said anything.
Absolutely disgusting. So they're not allowed. They have to go through channels now to apply for notes if they have to prove legitimate reasons why they need them.
This will stop people. That would have. Even if they can still get hold of them,
people talking to their therapist.
But it'll still stop people if they're still allowed to get the notes if they get certain permissions. No, your therapist notes, the only time those notes should ever be shared, or your doctor's notes should ever be shared, is if you've said you're going to harm yourself, so it's in a bid to get you help, or harm another person. That should be the only fucking time. It's disgusting. Sorry, my blood's boiling over here.
Yeah.
In fact, no, I'm not fucking sorry.
I will
Do better.
I'll share the National Crime Agency update about it.
That'd be good.
People can read.
I'll take a note of that.
Yeah, take a note of that, and I'll share that. I shared it on the Restitute page because obviously that means a lot to you, a lot of our clients.
Maybe you should share some of the Restitute stuff onto Criminal Crack.
Yeah, it is a positive move forward, but it's a step forward, whereas it needs to be a leap,
Why? How are we in 2026? People are getting shot in the street in America and all over the world. Women in particular, and young gay men, not young, and gay men are being made to feel responsible when a man rapes them. Now, don't get me wrong, I know men have been raped by women, but that's apparently in this country that's not a legal thing, because if you've got excited enough, it can't be called rape. If you get a guy drunk and then you take him to bed, he wasn't capable of telling you no or saying that he wanted that to happen, that's not rape. It can be sexual assault, but it's not rape because his body responded chemically.
That's
biologically.
That's bonkers.
It's disgusting.
That is bonkers.
And look, I'm saying all rapists are fucking horrible. I'm not an anti-men person at all. I'm not.
She loves men.
I do. I loved him. I was about to say something really inappropriate there. I'm not like that. I take each person as I meet them. I think it's disgusting the way that victims are treated.
Definitely.
Sorry, I've just totally
it's all right. No,
hijacked you.
So back to Mary. She was left alone with 2 sons by this point. No income, no financial security, and no self-worth. And she actually felt like she was at the bottom of the barrel. So there was.
Sorry, this is because I interrupted. This was when the first husband.
Yeah, after the first husband
just
left.
Couldn't cope.
Yeah. And she had been awarded something like 2.5. Sorry, I should have written this down.
2.6. I did see.
Yeah, 2.6 million dollars, but she never got a nickel because he was an unemployed lowlife with no way to pay it back. So she never saw a penny of it.
Cracks me up that they put things like that on. You're like, that person's never going to pay that.
Yeah, he's going to give you a 3 million gajillion. They can say any number.
He's threatened you as soon as you've left the court. He's threatened you again, but yeah, he's going to give you $1 million.
Yeah. absolutely ludicrous. And the money that she did have, I think the little amount that she got from grants and things, I think she used for therapy. So, which
That should be free to her.
it should, shouldn't it?
I mean, nothing's free in
It
America,
blows
though, is
my
it?
mind. It absolutely blows my mind. So the struggles that people face after surviving trauma are real and they're valid. And there's no magic wand or instant fix. And you question everything and everyone. You replay moments over and over and you blame yourself and you wonder if you could have done something different, or what could you have said or should you have said that could have
Is
made
it
a
something
difference.
that I've said that's done this? But can I just...
You do anything to imagine a different outcome, and there is the guilt, the shame and the stigma. It can feel all-consuming, and that's before you start going down the long and endless road of why me?
Yeah, but sorry, to just go back slightly, she obviously had a lot of physical injuries. But also, can we just talk about the fact that trauma and stress brings on ailments in your body as well? Things like, yes, depression and things like that, but it can trigger autoimmune conditions. Your body, I mean, there's a brilliant book called The Body Keeps the Score that explains all this. Can't remember the name of the writer, but it's a beautiful, fantastic book. It can cause so many other problems. So somebody is, say, attacked, and then the next thing, they've gone from having a 60-hour-a-week job, and before long they're claiming PIP because of all these conditions they've got. That is brought on by things like this happening to them.
Yeah. Everything, it is that butterfly effect.
It is.
Everything has an impact. Even the smallest, most minute things can impact you. So can you imagine this absolutely
can't.
massive physical, emotional... 15, she wasn't even fully developed.
But even
It's-
she could have been 50.
Well, yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm surprised she was able to have children. I didn't know she had children. I thought this have caused so much issues.
I think that was surprising as well, because there were some reports that
he brutally sexually assaulted
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Well, raped her. We'll just.
Yeah.
I usually don't like to use that word, but let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Like, why do we hide behind saying that?
I know.
This is an adult podcast.
Yeah. So back to that thinking of why me, and you do think that.
Yeah.
And it's a question that you'll never have an answer to, unfortunately. But what I've noticed is that there is an immense strength in survivors. I work with, as we know, and personally know more survivors of trauma than I ever imagined I would.
And I had
And I'm not just talking about at work, though. You know, I know survivors in all walks of life. And witnessing their resilience is immensely powerful. Seeing them rebuild and find their voices and advocate for others who are struggling is nothing short of phenomenal. But healing doesn't happen overnight, and you don't become okay all at once.
No, it's not like a cut. It scabs over and then it heals. But mind you, when you think about cuts, they always leave a mark.
Yeah.
Like if a cut's deep enough, it leaves a mark.
Yeah.
This is an incredible... You've picked an incredible... I said was it your last one that I said was just phenomenal. This is... Yeah, and I keep interrupting. Sorry,
Thanks,
guys.
Chica. It's all right. It's a podcast. Two-way thing.
Oh, she's getting all embarrassed now. She's doing this weird thing when she tucks her. She's like, oh my God, don't compliment me.
There will be good days and bad days, and yes, some days will feel completely shite, and that's okay. And hiding under your blanket for a day is okay, and staying in your pyjamas whilst the world goes on without you for a day is okay. But what matters is that you keep going. Surviving trauma doesn't define you, but the courage it takes to keep moving forward, that's where your power really lives. So hopefully, while this is another horrid case, I've explained why Mary's story of struggle and survival is an important one. And I really hope that wherever she is now and whatever she's doing, that her and her family experience more moments of happiness than anything else. Because what she's gone through is hell.
Yeah.
And not just that night, you know?
Well, that night lives on and on and on and on and on.
And I just wanted people to recognise that it doesn't just stop there.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of things I just wanted to say. So I've got a little bit of a task for Andy.
Okay.
He's our fellow podcaster and
Beyond Graves and Stars.
Beyond Graves and Stars, and he does all the movie shenanigans. I've said shenanigans a lot. There's lots of
shenan.
Yeah. So there were talks that there was a Mary Vincent movie, but I couldn't find it. So I found a few documentaries, and there was one that was like 45 minutes long.
So it's based on one.
Yeah. So there was talks of a Mary Vincent movie, and Andy please find the movie for us if you can. And there was another thing that...
And where to watch. Don't just hit us with the name of the movie.
Yeah. Where can we get it?
Buy us a DVD, Andy.
And then there was just something that I wanted to go back to about... It was just a cool thing that I read when I was reading stuff about Mary. When she first started using the prosthetic limbs, this was only 2 weeks after the attack, right?
Wow.
But she was a creative person, as we know, and she enjoyed tinkering, so she started to use spare parts from broken down electronics and Radio Shack and stuff to modify her own custom design prosthetics.
That's insane.
Isn't it?
That is incredible. I'd be useless with that.
I just thought that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It shows where her mind goes. That was obviously her coping mechanism, was to think about things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, from the very first intro to her, we knew that she was a creative person.
Yeah.
So that was, she carried that on, and I'm glad that she could.
Yeah,
So,
and you were talking before, like, sometimes we will share a case. I shared Ellen Halbert's story. God, I don't know, it was near the start anyway.
Yeah.
And I said it was a story of hope. But these stories never come without a price. You're never going to come here to hear a story that's a wonderful, lovely story. That's just not the way the world works. So like Victoria's illustrated today, we can show you the bad, we can show you the good, but you have to think for yourselves about what this means for people in real life. So I don't want us to be the type of podcast, and maybe we are, but I don't want us to be the type of podcast that people listen to and then move on. Like, really think about these cases and, put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I think a lot of our listeners do anyway, but understand.
I don't know if I might miss the point of podcasts. I know a lot of people just want the gruesome, gory details, and that's what a lot of the others seem to cover. And I thought that's not all that there is. This is this woman's life. It's not just a story. This is her whole life, and we owe it to her to actually acknowledge what she has lived through to become that survivor,
and the privilege that we have of being allowed to share these stories as well. I was trying to pick my next case, and I'd found a few cases, but I've always said to you, there has to be meaning for me to do a case.
Yeah.
And some of them I think, people would probably be interested in hearing this, but it has to have something. And all the cases we choose, we never know what the other person's going to talk about, but it's always something that resonates with us. It's never just going to be about gore. It's never going to be about, like the worst cases that have ever happened just to shock value. We're never going to do that. And we might cover, like Victoria said, she might cover Ted Bundy, but I think you'll find we have a different slant on what you're hearing because we are victim first.
Yeah, definitely.
We're about the victim.
Definitely. And even if what we achieve is a warning.
Yeah, like these things happen. I know people that live their lives as if nothing is ever going to happen to them or their children. They don't put proper boundaries. But it never. Some people it doesn't happen. But and they don't put proper boundaries in place. So then, if something does happen, they're shook beyond belief, and you think, did you not see? Like, never victim blaming, but this is the world we live in. People are not all people have good hearts. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
They walk amongst us. There are monsters.
They are,
and they exist. And stories like this, you never think it's going to be you. You don't go around, and you shouldn't go around thinking that, because then you'll just live in a cave and never talk to anybody.
But some people will say, I don't know anything that's happened to anybody, because people don't always talk about it. If you knew realistically how many of your friends and family have some kind of story, it would probably shock you.
And it's just that thing, you never know what someone's going through or what someone's been through.
No.
So just be nice, be kind. It's that simple.
That takes us back to your, what was his name, Anatoly Mishkin case. In that one, he was ill and we had empathy for him.
Frightfully ill.
Now, if he had been murdering those girls, we would probably have less empathy for him because he went on and did that. But there's still a degree of, he was so ill.
Yeah.
That's why that happened.
Yeah.
Victoria spoke before about a documentary called Alison, which she's going to share, but I knew the case, so I've nipped on and I found a website called Women for Change.
Yeah, because she's another advocate.
Yeah, so she had, she's from South Africa, and I'm actually going to read this out to you, so I'm giving credit.
Is that where your lady with all the chorizo, potbelly flank?
Yes.
She was like looking at me blankly.
I'm like, my lady
I'm
with
just
the pot
saying
belly.
all the meats, all the meats.
Can I just point out, I have never said to Victoria, oh, I know this lady from South Africa with a pot belly. This is from the site Women for Change, and there's a reason it's on this site. So just let me read what they've written, then I'm going to give you the update from 2023, so I don't know if Victoria knows it. So Alison Botha, was abducted and raped by Franz Dutoit and Theuns Kruger and abandoned in the bushes, why did I decide to read this, of Geberha, Gqeberha. Franz Dutoit and, I'm going to say Dutoit and Kruger because I can't say his first name, slashed Alison's throat, nearly decapitating her. The men stabbed her so many times that the number of wounds could not be counted and her internal organs were falling out. She used one hand to hold her head on and the other to hold her organs in. Alison managed to write the names of her attackers in the sand and drag herself to the side of the road where she was eventually found and rushed to hospital and eventually made a miraculous recovery. Though, as Victoria said, it would not have been, it's a miracle, but it wasn't a miraculous recovery like it was overnight. So they were sentenced to life imprisonment in 1995. However, on the 4th of July 2023, the pair who have only served 28 years of their life sentence were released on parole, and they're in the area. I'm pretty sure they're in the area that Alison Botha was still living. You didn't know that update, did you?
No, I didn't know that update, and that is horrifying.
So Victoria will find...
What is going on?
I sound like a bit of a crackpot. So that's a terrible word to use, but you know what I mean.
A criminal crackpot.
Yeah, thank you for making that better. A bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that things like this that horrify us, there are a lot of people in the upper echelons, we'll say, and we've talked about this, people who are predators getting themselves up into jobs that are where they can find victims, basically. I believe that this runs so deep, not just throughout our country, but all the countries in the world, and that's why young children and women are not as protected as they should be. And people who are like that will look at cases like this and be like, well, it's not that bad. I mean, she didn't die, did she?
Yeah.
It's almost worse than death. Well, it is worse than death in a way. I said this to somebody recently when talking about rape. Yeah, they didn't kill them, but they've got to live the rest of their lives with that trauma, so they should get the same sentence as what you get if you murder somebody.
Yeah.
Wow.
Justice system is
it's
majorly flawed.
It's not justice.
There are massive flaws, and we can't be the only people that recognise them, you know. We're not. But I do wonder sometimes, like, we watch these police programmes and stuff, and they do all this work, and then they go, oh, like your friend, community service. How is that?
So if you
how do the police feel about that? Because they've done all that work to gather all that evidence, and then community,
it's taken out of their hands, isn't it then? And you can understand why people go, I am not condoning vigilantes at all, but I understand it when it happens.
Yeah.
The day that we went to court, we were then invited in as like a debrief at the end. It's a new thing that they do, restorative justice, although not restorative justice the way we've discussed it on here before. It's basically your advocate there and your solicitor take you to a room and you say how you feel about what's happened. And I felt, and I can say this because it's my opinion, it was gaslighting the whole way. So if you kill somebody accidentally on the road, there's 3 levels of punishment you can have: A, B and C. A comes with jail time, B and C don't. So, and things come in, like, I totally disagree with if you plead guilty early enough, you get a reduction in your sentence. Like, yes, it stops a trial, so it stops the victims going through the trial. There must be a better way of doing this, though.
I think that could be quite simple. I think that there could be a possibility of a reduced sentence, but it's at the hands of the judge and the person giving the sentence. So if he goes, all right, you've pled guilty, well done, I'm still going to give you the maximum term because what you've done is bloody horrific. That's how it should be.
Yep. And look,
in that voice as well.
Yeah, definitely.
No, to jail.
Yeah, like, you know, when you were in trouble with your mum, when you were, like, younger and stuff like that.
Oh,
That
like
was
yesterday?
the voice. Yeah, today.
Yeah.
They would use that voice. My mum had just a loop. So, yeah. Wow. You do your cases a lot better than me. So, Victoria's a writer and wanted to be a journalist. When
I
she
wanted
was
to be
a writer.
April O'Neil.
You did.
Gemma bought me an April O'Neil Funko Pop for
I
Christmas, and I love it.
did.
And I'm going to have to get a yellow jumpsuit.
Oh, she keeps trying to get me to wear jumpsuits. I've been working on my writing quite a lot. I want to write a book. So, yeah, a fiction. Well, I'm hoping to do something about ADHD that'll be based on me, so not fiction. And I've been toying with the idea of writing up a few of our cases as well. But, yeah, I want to be able to write. So, Victoria's cases, we leave the recordings and both of us in our heads, I know for a fact, are like, oh my God, that was awful. Why did I say that? What did I say that? One time Victoria tried to say something about the elements had affected somebody and said elephants, and you know,
I lost it.
we can never remember. I can never remember how it went. And the last case, and I know this one will be the same when I do the edit, I was just like to Victoria, this is amazing. You've done.
Thank you.
I'm proud to pod with you.
Thank you. I'm proud to pod with you too. And I love your cases, and I think your writing's great, so shut your face.
Well, I'm trying not to use the
You'll
same.
never be as good as me.
Go on. Not at
Joking!
writing.
This is a joke.
I'm better at sex than you, though.
I wouldn't know.
I've got trust. Have you not got your partners to go on Trustpilot?
What partner?
No, anybody that you've slept with, you get them to do a review for you on Trustpilot. I'll show you
Is
after.
that how it works?
Yeah.
Is it not called Thrust Pilot?
Oh my God. No, because we don't trust. That's the boy one.
Yeah, but if you're reviewing them.
No, we
Oh,
don't
no,
review
they're
it.
reviewing
They're
us.
reviewing us.
Oh, okay.
See, she's a wonderful writer, but she's a bit dense at times. So, yeah, next case is coming. I can't think what date. If there's one out this Sunday, then there's one out in 2 Sundays. Oh, Victoria made an incredible cheesecake for me last week. Instead of recording, I was given the option.
Yeah.
Do you want to record or have cheesecake? And I'm like, is this even a question? It was cherry cheesecake. And she was like, oh, no, it's not set properly. It was fucking fabulous.
Excellent.
I loved it.
There was ground almond in the base as well, because I did the little amaretto thing.
The
I
base
soaked
was so
the
good.
cherries in amaretto, and I yeah.
You're soaking everything in amaretto because you did the raisins or sultanas or whatever
I
they are
did,
for the
yeah.
scones too. I get
Yeah.
well fed. No wonder I put on weight over Christmas.
Sorry. Food's not my friend at the moment.
It's never my friend. It makes me poop through the eye of a needle
And on that note,
on the regular. All right then. So we'll see you in a fortnight.
with Gemma's episode, which is going to be a
Yes.
cracker.
It's actually rubbish. Don't tune in. Right. Bye.
Keep on trucking.